What's going on, guys? I made a video not too long ago on how to set up Phantombot on Cloud9, C9. Um, since then, AWS has purchased C9, and they're starting to migrate people over to using their EC2 or their S3 buckets and their EC2 instances. If you don't know what that is, you don't really need to know what that is. If you do know what that is, you're going to have an easier time with this tutorial than those who don't. But it is still live, but unfortunately you can't sign up as a new user for C9, so I thought I would find the next best thing to use as a server, and this is actually going to work a lot better than C9 did. C9's instances, they would shut down after a while of inactivity, an hour or so, and every time you wanted to run your bot, you'd have to log into C9 and start the bot up again, which isn't that efficient. But you can view that video here if you have C9 set up already. If not, we'll continue on with this video. So basically what you're going to have is you're going to have a fully running bot that you can log into. I'm not going to log into mine right now. But you'll be able to log into it, and you don't ever have to worry about it shutting down. The server is absolutely free. We're going to be using Google Cloud Platform. And what you're going to do is you can actually Google Cloud Platform, and they have an always free tier. But when you go to Google Cloud Platform, you can go to cloud.google.com. You're going to come to this type of page. You're either going to be prompted to sign up or sign in. If you have a Google account and you sign in, you're just going to click Go to Console down here, Console up in that right hand corner. And you're going to be brought to some sort of a dashboard. If you've created projects with Google in the past using any of their APIs, you should have one of those projects available. Otherwise, you can easily set up new projects. So to set up a new project, if this is your first project, you'll probably be prompted in the middle here to set up a project. If you have projects set up, you can set up a new project like this. I'm not going to set one up, but you open that little drop down up here, you click the plus sign, it's going to ask you to set up a new project, and then you'll come to a dashboard that's very similar to this. It won't have any real information in it, but you'll come to a dashboard that's similar to this. It is going to ask you to enable billing. You will have to put in some billing information, but for what we're going to be using, there is an always free tier, and the thing that we're going to be using is the 1 micro instance per month, and that's really all we need to run this bot. So after you've created your project, like I said, you'll come to this screen here. We're going to go down to Compute Engine, VM Instances. Then you're going to come to this screen. We're going to create a VM instance. We're going to name it, I'm going to name it Phantombot. And I'm in the Central Time Zone, so I'm going to use the US Central 1F. And don't worry about this money thing over here, just follow along. Machine type, we're going to go to micro. That is the F1 micro that I said that we were going to get free. Right here in the always free usage, the F1 micro. So we have that set up, and that's the only thing. Those are the only 3 things we're going to touch on this. I lied. We're actually going to allow the HTTP and HTTPS traffic, but that's all we have to touch on this page. So we hit create. Now it does take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to have everything fully ready. So in the meantime, let's talk about Phantombot itself. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to Google Phantombot Ubuntu Setup, and it should be the very first link. You click this, make sure it says Ubuntu Setup Guide, and this is what we're going to do. I'm going to close this because I already have it open over here. So we're going to be doing pretty much everything in this guide with the exception of creating a Phantombot user. We're just going to use the standard root user on the server. Just as a caveat to all of this, I will be deleting this instance right after this video. So any passwords, usernames, or anything that you see, they're no longer going to be valid. That's for my security purposes. And I'm going to use dumb usernames and passwords anyway, stuff that you should never use. But I just want to kind of put that caveat out there. So now we have the little green check mark next to our Phantombot instance, right? So the first thing we're going to do is let's just verify that everything's good with it. We have our external IP. Looks like everything is solid with it. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this little SSH button up here. And what this is going to do is this is going to open up an SSH control panel. If you don't know what SSH is, don't worry about it. Just know you have to go through this step. This usually takes a good minute or so. There you go. And now we are ready to begin. So let's pop open the tutorial again over here, the setup guide. And we're just going to kind of update everything on the server. Right? It's going to download a bunch of packages. And when we see the green stuff here, that lets us know that it's done. That it says done. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to apply those updates. And we're just copy pasting. We're going to hit yes, enter to keep the flow going here. And this will take a little bit of time. You shouldn't have to have too much technical knowledge about all this. Just as long as you follow through with this tutorial, it should be relatively easy. Don't try to deviate unless you know exactly what you're doing. If you get lost or you have an issue, the easiest thing to do is delete the instance and start all over again. But really, this is going to take roughly complete start to finish anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. So that's done. Next, we need to install the Java JDK. So we're just going to copy paste these commands. Right? Hit yes to keep it going. Like I said, some of these commands do take a little longer to process, and the majority of this time will be spent, basically copy pasting and letting the system do the work. That's the beauty of all this. All right, so it said that we're done. So as you can see, we have our green name down here again. Let me move this up a little bit higher. We have our green name down here again, so that means we're ready to move on to the next step. We just want to validate that it is working properly. 1.8, which is exactly what we need. I know it says 8 internal, but 1.8 is the same. Like I said, we're going to skip step 3. We're not going to create a Phantombot user. I just don't see the need for it for this particular instance. You're not really storing any personal data on here. The only thing that might be considered personal data is your username, your password, and your keys. But I mean, those keys you can regenerate keys and you can change your username and password. It's not a big deal. So we're going to install wget. So we're going to copy that command, install it. It takes no time at all. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the actual folder, zip file, excuse me, the actual zip file from Phantombot. So what we have to do, don't hit enter yet. What we have to do is we have to replace these, x.x.x. This is the version number. You can find the latest version by going to phantombot.tv and scrolling down to download Phantombot, pretty much. And it's going to tell you the latest release, which is 2.4.0.3 at the time of this video. So let's come over here and let's replace these X's in the two spots in this line, 2.4.0.3, and move down over here, 2.4.0.3. So we'll hit enter now that we've updated that, and we should see that it's downloading a file, which is going to be that zip file. Now that we have that, we need to unzip it, and the guide shows us how to do that. So we have to install unzip. So we'll copy that command, paste it. It's installed. We'll copy the next command. Now you'll notice that there's the X's in there again. We got to replace those X's with that same version number we just used. So if you remember, it was 2.4.0.3. And if you see a bunch of stuff like that, that means we've inflated that zip folder to what it's supposed to be, and everything's in its proper folder structure. Next thing we want to do, to make future updates a bit easier, we renamed the Phantombot folder. I'm going to say that to a T. It does make it a lot better. And after when they come up with a new version of Phantombot, I will create a new video on how to update Phantombot. I know I have one on there on my channel right now. I am not a fan of how it turned out, so I will be taking it down pretty soon. But in the meantime, we'll do it this way. We'll learn how to set it up first. So what we're doing is we're moving Phantombot 2.4.0.3 folder into just a standard Phantombot folder. So if you hit LS, which lets you look at what folders are in your folder right now, you'll notice that we now have a Phantombot, and then we have the zip file. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to go into the that new Phantombot folder. So it's going to be CD space Phantombot, which CD stands for change directory. Easiest way to remember that. And if you look at our line here, you can now see that it's a little squiggly / Phantombot. That's how you know we're in the Phantombot folder. We have to give a couple files some privileges to execute, to make them executable. So we're going to copy that line of code, paste it, hit enter. No news is good news in this case. And we're going to skip that next line, and then we're going to go ahead and launch the bot, which is /launch.sh. Now we are not done by far. We have a few more steps we have to do, but we're just going to get the information set up for the bot. So in this case, we're going to put in the bot's Twitch username. Some people set up a specific Twitch account for the bot. I'm not for that. I'll just use my own. I'll use my own Twitch account for it. Right. So we need to get an OAuth token. So you can basically click the link that's right here, and it'll send you to the proper URL that generates a random OAuth token. Copy paste it in. We need another OAuth token for Phantombot. So same concept. Click the link. It'll open it up. It might ask you to connect the Twitch like so. and then it's going to generate this random OAuth value. Copy, paste, enter, enter the name of the Twitch channel the bot should join. That would be your channel. So for me, it'll be my channel, right? Enter a custom username for the web panel. So I'm just putting in dummy values. Do not use these values. These are unsafe values. So I'm going to do admin, password for the password, and now it's going to launch Phantombot. Now we can't see it on the front end yet because we haven't opened up the ports that are required. That is what we're actually going to work on next. As soon as this is done. Alright, it's ready. Bot is live. So now we're going to hit Control C to shut the bot down. We don't need it running right now. It does take it a few seconds to shut down. Alright. So now we can see that it's shut down. We have our colored line again. It's not just all white. So we have our colorful line again. Lets us know that we're ready to move on to the next step. Let's close off these OAuth pages. So now what we have to do is we have to set up a system file, a system service file that will tell the server that, hey, we want this to run the entire time the server is running, unless we tell it to not run, right? So we're going to copy this line of code. Paste it. And we're going to come to a blank looking page like this that has some commands down here at the bottom that you can do. We're going to copy this whole thing, but we got to make some edits to it. Because we didn't set up that bot user, we have to make some edits to it. So my user for this particular instance is Dagan07. It's going to be the same as your Gmail or your Google account before the @ sign. So Dagan07 is not in a group, but it's not in a group. So we're going to go ahead and remove that. We're going to change user to your username. Mine is Dagan07. And we got to change this, remove bot user from here and change it to your username, Dagan07, like so. And that's it. So we're going to write it out. So that's actually, if you look down here, this is a Control O, not a Shift O, but Control O. It's going to ask what file name do you want to write this to. We're going to write it to the phantombot.service file. And then we're going to hit Control X. That's going to exit out. So now that that is set, we have to reload the system controls. So we're going to copy that. We're going to paste it. No news is good news. And now we got to enable that new service that we just set up. Created the symlink, so that lets us know that it was successful. Next, we need to set up the actual commands for it to run. So we're going to copy that sudo visudo. We're going to arrow down all the way to the bottom, give ourselves another line break, and we're going to copy this line of code here, but we have to make an edit to it after we paste it. So Control V to paste, arrow left all the way over, and we have to remove this bot user and add our user instead. Control O to write, hit enter because we want to write to that file, and Control X. Now we're back to that main page. Now we need to see if it's going to work properly. So we're going to copy this first line here, start Phantombot, the sudo bin system control start Phantombot. No news will be good news. Okay, so that lets us know that it should be working. We still don't have a way to see the bot yet, so that's what we're going to work on next. We have to install Ubuntu Firewall. It doesn't tell you how to install it here. I actually had to Google it. So you would just basically type Ubuntu UFW install. And we're just going to copy this first line. This is the only thing we need from this page. Right? Let it install. It is installed. Now we can go back to the setup guide. We're going to enable the firewall. Yes. All right, so now it says the firewall is active and enabled on the system. We're going to allow port 22. So we're going to copy that line. It says rule added. Good. And we're going to allow the ports that we need for Phantombot to run, which is 25,000 through 25,004. Okay. Rule has been added. We're not going to worry about the backup section yet. Theoretically, you should be able to see it now, but you can't. We have one more thing we have to do on Google Cloud Platform side. So let's go ahead and head back over to that dashboard. We're going to click on the navigation, the hamburger navigation menu here. We're going to scroll down to Network, VPC Network, and we're going to hit Firewall Rules. So we added those ports to the Ubuntu firewall, but we also need to add those ports to the Google Cloud Platform firewall. Okay, so what we have to do is we're going to create a new firewall rule. We're going to call it, I'm just going to call it Phantombot again. Description, allow Phantombot ports. Network is going to stay on default. Priority don't touch. Direction of traffic don't touch. Action on match don't touch. Targets we have to. So we're going to do a specified service account. In this project, target service account, we want to choose this compute engine default service account. Okay? And then for source filter here, we want to do IP ranges, and we're going to target just 0.0.0.0//0. That's going to allow from all URLs. And then what we have to do is, if you remember, we had to allow ports 25,000 through 25,004 over the TCP port connection. So we're going to, they have it framed a little bit differently here, so we're going to go TCP : 25,000 through 25,004 and create the rule. Give it a second to finish creating. Hit the little refresh button up here and it'll refresh it. So it says we can actually do HTTPS server, but I like doing it this way. This way worked for me. IP ranges matches the source filters for most of these, with the exception of allow internal. So if we go back to our terminal here, actually let's go back to the setup guide. Let's copy that start command again, sudo bin system control start Phantombot, just to verify that it is turned on and working. Let's go ahead and paste that again. No news is good news in this instance. And what we're going to do now is we're going to jump back over here to Google Cloud Platform. We're going to click on that hamburger navigation menu again. We're going to go back to Compute Engine VM Instances. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on this square with the arrow, external IP, right underneath external IP, to open this in a new tab. Now, nothing's actually going to load on this page. So what we have to do is let's go ahead and stop the loading. Let's remove https ;/ and let's put port 25,000. And just like that, your Phantombot is set up. You click Launch Phantombot Control Panel. We'll use the username and password that we set up. For this one, it was admin, and the password was just password. And now we have our Phantombot panel that we can use. The next thing you would want to do is you would want to do, you know, all your configurations. You want to enable your Twitch modules, your Discord modules. If you have to edit a file, like your bot configuration file, so that you can include your Twitter stuff and your Discord stuff, the easiest way to do that is to go through that SSH command. Make sure you're in your Phantombot folder. We're going to go into config, so cd config. We're going to look in there, ls, and that bot login.txt is going to be the file that you're going to want to edit. So the easiest way to edit this file is vim botlogin.txt, and this is going to show you all of your keys and everything, and this is where you're going to put your Discord authorization, your Twitter authorization. You can change your username and password. You can change your OAuth, your API authorization keys. All you have to do is get down to the bottom, hit insert. That allows you to start writing into this file. So now I can start writing into the file. And Phantombot has really good documentation, you know, on their guides on how to set up Twitter, how to set up like integrations, stream tip integrations, stream bot integrations. Those are setup guides. So your Twitter integration setup. You know, it's gonna. This is the stuff where you would go to your. You can run Twitter setup and ask for your Twitter name and keys, and it'll do it in there. You're gonna mod it. So if you run your bot as a service, which is what we're doing, you're just gonna copy paste this information into your config file. So quit out of there. Let's run that same thing again. Insert. Copy. See if it'll paste it there. So you'll put your information in here. Same thing with Discord. Discord integration setup. You'll be able to do that. There's a lot of things that you can do with Phantombot, which is one of the reasons why I really like it. If you have any questions, feel free to follow me on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Dagan07. Hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. Hit the follow button on Twitch. I'd really appreciate that as well. Make sure you enable notifications if you when you hit follow on Twitch, so that way you can know when I'm going live. And I usually update my my going live messages if you watch Twitch on mobile. So you'll be able to see relevant data to or relevant information to what I'm streaming. And also, like I said, hit that subscribe button down below on YouTube. And if you have any questions after the video, be sure to put those questions in the comment section. I read every comment that gets put on one of my videos, and I try to answer every single one of those comments as well. So thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope it wasn't too complicated, and we'll see you in the next one.